Hello everyone, it's Penelope. We're going to talk about when you're finding meat deals, but you're finding deals on meat you're not familiar with, or maybe you've never tried messing with it. This is the time to do that. Okay, before I go into that, I want to give a little health update just in case you want to know. I have been having some issues. I was diagnosed with pneumonia and things just were not progressing. I was supposed to go back to work on Monday, but I was feeling ravaged still. I kind of went the weekend and kind of took it easy to see if it was just me overextending or if it was this illness. Well, it is this illness. So I went to our clinic, and not only did they order blood, sputum, um, and a COVID test, but a chest x-ray. Had to get another chest x-ray. Okay, so I don't have COVID. Yay. However, I do have what's called H influenza, and that is a bacterial infection. Now, I remember sometime last year or the year before, I can't remember, when I went in over an infection in my sinuses, an upper respiratory, and I told them, this is really bad. They apparently looked at the snot. I don't know what they did, but it was not passed forward. Okay, I heard something weird. I thought it was my puppy. Anyway, so I have this H influenza. It is not actually a flu, but it is an infection. Um, there's some other things that be going wrong because of it. So if you're curious more about this, look up H influenza and you can read about it. It's very scary, and I'm really upset because they did an order to get me into to get a CT scan, but they did not send the order to the drugstore for the prescription. I don't understand. They're counterproductive. Let's get the hospital thing set up, but let's not get the antibiotics set up. So I did contact HR in my workplace to let them know they didn't set it up before this holiday weekend. But anyway, this has given me plenty of time to watch Gordon Ramsay. We all know who he is. I had no idea he had a YouTube channel, but I am hooked. I am learning things that I didn't know before. Yesterday, when I went shopping, I did go to JC and I did go to Kroger. JC did have the pork loins they were like the half pork loins for 99 cents. There was a limit of 2. I got 2 of those. I went to Kroger and they had the boneless, skinless chicken breasts for $1.99 a pound. Didn't care. I went ahead and bought 2 packages of those, which made me 2 packs in the freezer. So I put that in the freezer. This is the time that when you are not familiar with cuts, but you find them and you're like, what in the hell can I do with that? Well, then you look for your recipes. So we're going to start with pork first because it seems to me that is what our this week's going to be. Last night, where is it? Last night, not only did I make hamburgers, but I also made chili. And I'm going to tell you something. I've been playing with this. This is the ground beef and pork blend that you can get for sometimes $2.49 a pound at Kroger. And I'm going to tell you something. For the hamburgers, it held up fantastic. Fantastic for the hamburgers. Great taste. Not a lot of grease. It was really nice. This even says 80% lean, 20% fat. And I'm going to tell you, the beef is fattier than the pork in here. So there's one pork thing you can consider. I also made a pot of chili with pork last night. Now here's the thing with the pork in the pork. When you're doing chili or something that you need to cut finer, you're going to have to watch it because it will cling together. That's why it made such a great hamburger last night, because it didn't fall apart. There wasn't so much fat in it that everything fell apart. It actually stuck together like a hamburger. So definitely recommend hamburgers. Definitely recommend this in chili. Just watch. You're going to have to mince down that pork because it will stay together. So pork. It's my new ground beef. Just saying. I did work with some just pork not too long ago and made some tacos. They weren't bad, but they did not have that extra fat that I wanted. So if you decide to use just ground pork, you're going to have to add a fat once you brown it, either an herbed butter or even simply just a little bit of oil. You're going to have to get that texture for your tacos, and it will also act as a surfactant for your taco seasonings. Just saying, a little bit of advice there if you're using just ground pork. Okay. So that's not it. Hold on, we got too many bags. Okay. This here is one of the half pork loins that I got, and this is $3.46. What a great piece of meat. With this, if it were more people, I would probably do one almost all in chops and do one little part to make some pulled pork, and that would go a little bit further, especially if you use slider buns and do like major sides, baked beans, tater salad, coleslaw, whatever. So you could use like the tip here for, just pulled pork, and you could actually cut chops if you wanted to. Now what I'll be doing is putting this whole big bad boy into my Instapot because my husband absolutely loves pork. So I'll probably make some sides to go with it, and we'll have a traditional pork loin dinner. Okay. Now I went to my local IGA. This one is not a really good price. It actually says it's $2.89 a pound, but it was only $4 for this big thing of pork ribs. These are the country style ribs. These are not like the baby back ribs or something like that. But these can be slow cooked with a red wine sauce or reduction and so on and so forth. And what a great thing, because if you do it just right, these could be an awesome add to a pretty good meal, maybe with twice baked potatoes and some Brussels sprouts or something like that. You could really get a traditional but non-traditional kind of food out of the spare ribs or the country style ribs. These are the pork ones. Of course, we'll talk about beef in a little bit. Okay, now something else I got, and I found two of these. These are the it's fresh pork, and it's just pieces. See that? I found it on reduced. I found two of them. They're 65 cents a pound. So this little scragglet of meat could actually serve my husband and I twice if I did it into a stir fry. But what I'm going to do is make a pork curry to put over rice. And what a great find. So one of these I put into a freezer bag, put it in the freezer, and that's what I did with that one. And this one is going to turn into a curried pork with rice. So some ideas for pork. So many things you can do. You could even, when you find these half pork loins on sale for 99 cents, if you do a family feast of some sort, you can cut it open very carefully and put things in it, roll it up, tie it off so you'll have a stuffed pork loin. And what a great, wonderful thing to put into the middle of a plate, a table in a big plate when you have a lot of company. So that's another thing you can consider. If you do have these fancy dinners with your people, one of those would make an absolute great stuffed presentation for a table of people. Okay, now with pork, there's also other pieces and parts that you can get to cook down to make them great. Just know that if you're going to use a cheaper cut of meat, you're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to look up some recipes. Do you want it sweet? Do you want it savory? Do you want it sweet and sour? Those are what you need to look for, or those recipes. You can do all kinds of stuff. Now let's talk about beef a little bit. Something that people forget about are oxtails. Oxtails are fantastic in a slow cooked, dark red kind of wonderfulness. I just don't even know how to, it's like a rustic cook. You can even put taters and carrots in there while they're cooking down, and fantastic. Onions, garlic, rosemary, whatever. Um, so oxtail is something that is absolutely fantastic to work with on a more slow kind of keel. Short ribs, the same as these. Um, just you have to look it up. Do you want Korean style barbecue? You know, do you want maybe a Thai meal? You just have to start looking up different recipes for these different cuts of meats. Let's go ahead and talk about chicken leg quarters. There are some times where you can get them at 49 to 69 cents a pound in those 10-pound bags. Those are great to have in your freezer because you never know what could happen. They're easy to cut apart. There's a joint, you break it, you cut in between the leg and the thigh. You set both sets aside, and you've got thighs that you can cook down and then tear apart for all kinds of wonderful dishes. And you're going to have legs where you could do dishes like hot legs. One night your family have hot legs instead of hot wings if that's a tradition, and you've saved yourself a lot of money. But the thighs themselves, they're such great rich meat, and dark meat is rich and it keeps its moisture. So it can make some of the best casseroles and things. So that's one of the parts of the chicken you might want to consider are the whole leg quarters. Because like I said, you can find those in those bags, and say you just needed an extra meat for 2 or 3 nights, grab one of those, work with them, and you're going to have 2 really good chicken dishes from a really cheap cut of chicken. The deboning of the thighs. I mean, you can debone the thighs, you can go with an Asian or a curry, you can go with a kebab. There's all different ways to present those thigh meats. And on a kebab, what a great thing, because they don't dry out, and if you put a good barbecue sauce or some sort of glaze on them, it's going to hold that moisture in even more when you grill it. Fantastic. So the pork, my buy price on these loins this week was 99 cents. Of course, you saw the pieces that I got even cheaper. I did get some of the country style ribs, were a little more expensive, but I really want to play with them. And then I also got that bork. And I'm telling you, that bork made the absolute best hamburger I've had in a very long time. I don't know if it was just that it was so mild or the seasonings that I added to it made it just perfect as a hamburger. I'm not sure. But let me tell you what I did yesterday. Yesterday I went to JC and I did go to Kroger. I told you I got the pork and the chicken and all of that. But I also looked for some closeouts. They had all different flavored vinegars on closeout, oils on closeouts, sauces on closeout. So I went ahead and I stocked my pantry with oils, vinegars, sauces, and things like that I found on closeout. And so now my repertoire is going to grow because I'm going to have to use a cheaper cut of meat here and there, and I'm going to have to do it right. So in order to get it done right, it has to have flavor, it has to have that consistency of caramelization, so on and so forth. And I just hope that you can find these recipes and watch people, because it's amazing. And you can learn so much just by watching the video. Of course, you need that stuff in your pantry. So you always want to keep a list when you're watching those videos, when they're teaching you what to do, and make lists of what you need. Because there were things that I thought I had that I didn't have, and there are things that I thought I had that I didn't have that I'm going to have to go get to do some of these recipes. You all have a great day. Hope everyone's doing well. And we're just muddling through here. I'm getting ready to go take some mommy time. The puppy's asleep. So I thought I'd make this video and hope to share something with you just to change your views about meat. You're going to have to change. You're going to have to adapt. And you're going to have to learn some skills to make it work. Hugs from a distance. Y'all have a great day. Bye, y'all. Oh, well, that's not till tomorrow. Okay, never mind. Bye, y'all.